Joining us right now to talk more on China's influence on TikTok, Alex Hearn is here. He's UK technology editor for The Guardian. This is like a controversial company. I know it has a huge valuation, but they're doing stuff that I think, at least in the West, people are looking at thinking, what is going on here, in part because of the role of the Chinese government in all of this.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about TikTok is it is owned by a Chinese company. The company itself sort of has a strong self-image as a Silicon Valley startup, and it says its Chinese owners are just that, owners. They don't control it. But based on documents that I received in May this year, that doesn't really seem to be reflected in how the company is run. In fact, TikTok takes a much, much stronger attitude against the sort of content that, well, that the Chinese government wouldn't like to see on a social media app. Moderators were told to remove references to Tiananmen Square. They were told to remove references to the Falun Gong religious group. They were told to remove references to Taiwanese independence. And these were all phrased in terms of sort of trying to reduce political arguments on the site. They weren't explicitly done in a way that would make Beijing happy, but it doesn't. Right. It's not hard to see why those rules were in place.
Two of the other big investors, and I don't know if we mentioned this, and Julia, I don't know if you want to chime in on this as well. My understanding is that KKR has a stake in this company, General Atlantic, these are U.S. Big investors. And have they come out publicly one way or the other and discussed their role in this situation?
They've not. It's not. They've not. It's not going to be.
Yes, no, please go ahead.
Sorry, Julia.
No, yeah, I know he's right. Alex is right. They've not, but Alex, please continue.
Yeah, it's one of those things where so far TikTok, really until this week, had managed to keep its head below the parapet on this issue.
And is your sense, by the way, the other piece of this is that there's a view that the Chinese government is actually using all of the images that we are providing to TikTok for some kind of large-scale AI facial recognition program?
I would be surprised if the Chinese government was doing that because it's too easy a loss, right? That's the sort of thing that, if it came out, would be a genuine scandal, very hard to pull off.
But there's been speculation about that. There's been concern in Washington about that.
The problem with a lot of the way that the Chinese government uses its soft power abroad is that it rarely needs to tell companies what to do. It acts in a way that requires sort of companies to guess what the government does and do it preemptively. There's no orders coming down from on high. There's just the understanding that you will do what Beijing wants, and you'll try and guess what they want and do it without being asked to.
Hey, Julia, what's the chatter in the Valley about this company in terms of its role and relationship with the Chinese government?
Well, Andrew, you're right. The list of companies that have invested in ByteDance is very long and very diverse. I mean, you see Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Bank of China. All of those are listed as participating in debt financing for ByteDance. So they've all, in KKR was part of a private equity round. You know, when you have a company that's raised over $4 billion, you're going to have a wide group of investors. I think that Alex is right, that this is a company that's sort of been focused on from a TikTok perspective for its fast growth here in the U.S. TikTok is considered to be one of the few social media companies that's really been able to potentially challenge Snapchat and Facebook in terms of quickly growing popularity. But I think people have liked the fact that it's about sharing music videos, allowing people to lip sync. They have rights to a lot of music, which is unusual to be able to have that licensed music. But I think right now people are increasingly starting to scrutinize its relationship with the Chinese government, particularly that question about censorship. And we just, earlier this week, Senator Marco Rubio, we heard him call for an examination of that government, potential Chinese government influence and the censorship issue in particular. So it'll be interesting to see whether there's a push to have ByteDance potentially sell TikTok to have it operate as a separate entity here in the U.S. But I think having Senator Rubio weigh in this week could be the start of something new here.
Okay, Julia and Alex, we got to leave the conversation there. We appreciate it. It's a fascinating one, and I know it's something we'll continue to be talking a lot about.